Meanwhile, the Art Ross winner, Connor McDavid, and the Oilers heading home. Take a look at this. Teams with the Art Ross winner to be swept in the first round. The last to do it, Nikita Kucherov, back in 2019. Connor McDavid, he joins that club here in 2021. And weeks, it just goes to show you the regular season, you can't put too much stock in how you finish things, right? Winnipeg kind of limping into the playoffs. Everybody concerned, worried about that, and boom, here they are, 4-game sweep, and they're the ones moving on to round 2.
You're absolutely right. There's no question about it. And coming down the stretch, the Winnipeg Jets were kind of leaking oil, so to speak, and pardon the pun, but in watching them, you're like, man. And the other side of the table, Connor McDavid and Draisaitl had 2 amazing seasons. McDavid, the first player since the great Mario Lemieux to average 2 points a game. Like, what a season it was for him, eclipsing the 100-point mark in 56 games. I mean, it was a head-scratching, dominant season by Connor McDavid. There's a lot to like for the Edmonton Oilers this season in the regular season. Clearly not the case here in the postseason. This was a reversal of roles, so to speak. The Winnipeg Jets, to their credit, everybody was healthy. Their goalie, Connor Hellebuck, was saying, coming down the stretch, I'm ramping my game up. I'm ramping my game up. My game's rounding into form. Don't worry, I'll be there. Well, he certainly was there. So too were his teammates. The fact that everybody was healthy, but this game plan, the pre-scout, the pro scouting, and the coaching staff that they devised for this Jets team, they absolutely bottled up the Edmonton Oilers this entire series.
Locked up Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Big time.
Those guys at bay. And Stu, you go back to the last couple of Stanley Cup champions, there's a theme there. There's depth up front. It's not just the top 6 forwards. It's the 4th line, the 3rd line. And I know how impressed you were with the 3rd line from Winnipeg, not just in this game, but this entire series. What did you see from them?
Yeah, it really was. It's Adam Lowry, it's Mason Appleton, it's Andrew Kopp. These guys do a phenomenal job. I mean, if you can kind of, if your top 6 can get some offense, can generate some opportunity for you, and can secure you 3 or better goals a night, you're kind of off to the races. But that's only part of the equation in this Oilers versus Winnipeg matchup. You've got to find a way to neutralize that top unit, and especially when those 2 guys, Draisaitl and McDavid, form 2/3 of that top line for the Edmonton Oilers. Well, the Lowry line did just that. They played it really close to the vest. In fact, they spent a lot of time in the offensive zone as opposed to their own defensive zone, JMO. And it was really a lot of just straight out work, that top unit for the Edmonton Oilers. I thought managed the puck in a far better way and just played it really close to the vest, played a really suffocating form of hockey against that McDavid line on the other side. So really, Paul Maurice, the coaching staff, and then certainly the skaters for this group up front, they unlocked the key to the series, which was getting the better of the McDavid line at the end of the day, and rode that to a North Division first-round victory.
All right, the Winnipeg Jets moving on to round 2. They await the winner of the Toronto-Montreal series. Meanwhile, Connor McDavid and the Oilers await the media questions that are sure to be coming up there in Edmonton. Where does this team now go from here, big picture?
I think the biggest thing for the Edmonton Oilers is to do an overall objective assessment of the season that they had and how they weight that real assessment will be interesting, because keep in mind, they played against all the teams in the Northern Division only, so all the Canadian teams. So you couldn't really see the weight of playing against some of the other teams and the other teams in the league, quite frankly. But with that being said, you want to be objective, you want to be fair, but I still see that this team is a team, and clearly by way of this series, they're not where they need to be yet as a group. And quite frankly, I think that their bottom 6 needs to be better. And some of the production really from their second line as well. Stu made the point about that 3rd line for the Winnipeg Jets. Well, the fact that that 3rd line was able to go out and play head-to-head, that's a testament to the depth of the Winnipeg Jets. I'd also say this for the Edmonton Oilers. They need a little bit more jam in their group. They need some skaters that have a little bit more jam, a little bit more power up in the forward grouping specifically, because when you're going up against some of those players like an Adam Lowry and Kopp and some of those other players, those players play hard.
Yes.
And if one thing that we do know in the 2 sweeps that we have seen, one by way of Winnipeg and the other one by way of Colorado, their forwards play hard. Not only skilled, not only talented, but they play with jam. And that goes a long way in the Stanley Cup playoffs in any era, especially now.